Hello and welcome to another video tutorial for VirtualRig Studio Pro. In this tutorial we're going to show you how to blur an HDR spherical image, which can often be used in environment projections on CGI images, such as this one here. Now this one, an HDR environment was shot in this tunnel. However, it hasn't been blurred yet, and you can see the result of the reflections in the car, which are static, and the whole shot's moving. So it obviously is going to need to be blurred. You could do that on Photoshop, but to trying to get all these directions correct, it would be such a long and difficult task. However, on VirtualRig, it's quite easy, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so this is the HDR spherical panoramic image, and if you haven't watched the other videos that we've done, the other tutorials that we've done for VirtualRig, I suggest you watch those, because this one is a little bit trickier, but the great thing is that it works from a pattern. So everything is done with the blur tool, so you can hit C on your keyboard, which brings up the blur tool. Before I do that though, I'll quickly run you through the concept of it. All of the points, or all of the blurrers, will start or finish from either this point or that point there. They'll also have a midway point through this vertical section here, and this vertical section just over here as well. So with that in mind, we will hit C to get the blur tool up, and we'll follow any lines of contrast along the image. Now, if you don't have a tunnel shot to blur, then you don't have to worry about the top half of this. But if you do, then then all you need to do is just follow any lines of contrast. Okay, so we're going to start all the points from here. The control points we drag it back to the start point, because we don't want any blurring at this end. However, we do want blurring at this section here. And I'm going to drag that through here, and we'll try and get that as close as we can to follow. Come down a little bit, okay. And basically, if there's any other lines that you can see, you want to try and follow them and run a blur along them, which will help keep them clean and not blurred across. So that you'll see a nice clean direction of blur. Okay. Now, for the next part, we're stopping at this vertical line here. And remember to take that control point down to the end. And then we're going to start again. We're going to finish at this point. So note the direction we're starting and then finishing there. And we'll again push that control point all the way to the end, because we don't want any blurring at that point. And then follow this line as best we can. Okay. So the other thing to keep in mind too is these control points along here. Each blur needs to be a mirror image of the other one. So here we want to mirror this one. So this control point here needs to be the same distance away. Okay, so about there. Okay, we're going to do the same here. Run this control point all the way down the back there. We're going to mirror this out. Try and follow the lines of the road. Okay. A little bit more curve. Okay. And this control point can come out, so it's the same distance away. Okay. So we've got a nice bit of contrast up through here as well. We're going to follow that. Drag that control point back, and that distance is fine for that. Okay. And we start from that vertical line there, go all the way down to this point, drag that control point down to the end, and follow that line of contrast. Okay. And then from here, we want to go from this vertical line into this point. We start the opposite direction. So we start from there and we finish in here. So we need to drag that control point down to the end. We follow that line of contrast. and that blur, that control point there would be good. Well, let's hope it'll be good. We'll see in the render. Okay, so drag that control point down to the end. Follow this line through here. Okay, cool. We're looking good. So if you've got lots of lines of contrast, it can help to run the blurs along them. If you don't have a lot of contrast through there, then it's not so critical. But again, you still want to get this sort of balloony type pattern going through your spherical image. Okay. It's another good one up through here as well. Drag that down to the end. Okay, and I'm just pressing the Alt key down here to move the control points along. Okay, so that's looking good through there. Now, the other thing that we can do through here is to hit the P key, which brings up the project settings, and then we'll get the spherical image mode clicked in there with that checkbox. And as you can see, that brings up these other parts of the image that you'd see if you were to spin the spherical image around. So from here, we want to grab this control point, grab this blur, run it up to there, and it's a mirror image. So we're just going to follow this around, and it needs to meet that other one right there. This control point starts down, follow that along. Okay, and it's just a matter of joining the dots from now. So what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to finish this, and we'll come back to it when it's all done, and I'll show you hopefully a nice render. Okay, so this the blurs have been put down. I'll quickly run you through what's gone on. These blurs will these top blurs need to come from outside of the edge of the image. So from here, they're starting at this vertical point and then finishing down through here, and they're mirrored over on this section through here. These vertical lines vertical blurs are important as well. They're the same speed, so you just need to watch this blur as well. But that will give you a nice control over this midsection point of the tunnel and the road as well. So you'll get nice control through there too. We can extend that down a fraction. Okay, and I've also done a high-res render, yeah, you can see that's pretty nice through there. There's nice clean lines, which is what we're looking for. We don't want blurring going across them. The blurring is going in the direction of the road. On version 2.2 of VirtualRig, you can adjust the exposure of the HDR. So you can run through the different exposures you've got. So I can see through the top section here, it's still looking nice, and then I can open up through the road. Okay, so that's looking good. And I've just also done a quick little QuickTime VR, so you can get an idea that it really feels like you're in a moving car through here. So that should reflect nicely. And we'll quickly finish up on the image. So there's the final environment reflected in the car. You can see it's quite natural, and the way the lines curve around the bodywork on the car is something you're just not going to guess in Photoshop or any other program. So that was the still, and that's the finish. Okay, so hope you enjoy using VirtualRig Studio Pro.